Netflix has released a new time travel thriller that seems to be the perfect reminder to watch Kiernan Shipka's 87% Rotten Tomato scoring slasher, Totally Killer. Produced by Jason Blum, Totally Killer landed on Amazon Prime Video on October 6, 2023. Despite being fairly derivative of many renowned horror and time travel movies, the movie mostly earned positive reviews from viewers and critics, with many singing praises of how it balances its slasher horror and time travel elements with effective social satire. 1 year after its release, Netflix has released its own slasher thriller that, like Totally Killer, also uses time travel as a narrative device. Although the Netflix horror movie in question brings some of its own unique spin to the genre, it seems to have a lot in common with Totally Killer. Owing to this, it is hard not to be reminded of Totally Killer while watching the new time travel slasher horror flick on Netflix. Time Cut and Totally Killer are both Back to the Future-style time travel slasher movies. Both films play with familiar tropes of the subgenre. In a typical Back to the Future fashion, the main characters from both Prime Video's Totally Killer and Netflix's Time Cut accidentally travel back in time. This allows them to change things in the past and save the lives of their loved ones who a vicious serial killer murdered. While Jamie from Totally Killer finds herself in 1987, Time Cut's Lucy learns she is in 2003 after encountering a mysterious time machine in a barn. Despite understanding the rippling consequences of changing events in the past timeline, the two characters refuse to let history repeat itself. Although Time Cut and Totally Killer play with similar genre tropes and themes and seem quite similar in their opening arcs, they execute their ideas differently. Apart from instilling 80s nostalgia and featuring a few memorable kill scenes, Totally Killer also delivers some hilarious moments, making it reminiscent of other classic slashers like Scream. Time Cut, in contrast, inclines more towards portraying a relatively more serious coming-of-age story that cares little about the plot holes and paradoxes that come with time travel narratives. Time Cut vs. Totally Killer, which movie has the better time travel slasher story? Totally Killer arguably does a far better job at executing its ideas. Kiernan Shipka and Olivia Holt in Totally Killer. While both films do not shy away from borrowing existing ideas and tropes from other movies of the genre, Totally Killer does a better job of etching its identity. Both films are ridden with narrative inconsistencies and paradoxes, highlighting how they incline more towards using time travel only as a vessel to explore human stories rather than strictly adhering to the rules of time travel mechanics. However, what makes Totally Killer a far better movie is that it does not take itself too seriously and still manages to weave more heart and humor into its storyline. Totally Killer boasts a fairly impressive critics score of 87% and an audience score of 77% on Rotten Tomatoes. Time Cut, in contrast, has failed to leave its mark by only earning a critics score of 20% and an audience score of 36% on the reviewing platform. Despite the difference in their reception, both movies can be appreciated for the performances of their lead actors and the creativity with which they portray the rippling effect of one's actions across time. However, for viewers seeking a horror comedy that has a fair share of gory moments, Totally Killer might be a better fit.